sitting down and you're relaxing and you're listening to robjh1 and at Small Town Andrew After Dark. Folks, what can I say? A lot has been taking place these past couple of days, past month, now into a new month, February, and it just doesn't stop. And right now we're learning that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, took me a long time to get her name, they refer to her as AOC or AOC. I'm going to say it. She's been lying. This isn't the first time she's lied. Why are people afraid to call her out? What you're looking at right now is a layout of the Capitol. She claims that the insurrection that after her, that they were banging on her door saying, "Where is she? Where is she?" I doubt these people knew who she actually was, maybe one or two. I mean, does she think that she's that important? That the world evolves around her? I mean, granted, the media has given her a lot of attention since she was, elected to the House. But who is she? A former barmaid? She never had a real job. I mean, she's starting off right, just like all of the other politicians up in the Capitol. She was a barmaid, and now she thinks that people want to get her. Okay, let's just set the record straight. If there's anyone out there who's threatening violence to AOC or any other Democrat or Republican, please stop. We don't need that attention, and we don't want to give them that attention. It's ridiculous. But of course, she's out there saying that they're after her, and of course, fake news CNN and MSDNC, they're going to say, "Oh, it's such a harrowing story. They were after her. They wanted to kill her," only to find out that there was another congressman who said that it didn't happen. Nancy Mace from South Carolina. She said it didn't happen. And what I see today on the news is that they're all afraid, the news media, they're afraid to say, "She's lying. She's lying." We got to stop this. It has gotten completely out of control, completely out of control. So join me tonight and my host at Small Town Andrew as we discuss this ridiculous story and a lot of other stories that are taking place in the media that needs to be stopped. Republicans need to start calling these people out and saying, "Hey, they're liars. She's lying." It has to stop. They would do it if the tables were turned. So why can't they do it on her? Mm-hmm. She's also claiming that, "Oh, I was a victim of sexual harassment." Okay, I don't know if she was, she wasn't. I could care less. I'm only concerned with what she's doing on the Hill. She's from New York. I'm from New York. Thankfully, she's not from my district. But still, I don't care what happened to you. Then you have people, "Oh, well, trauma, when trauma takes place." She wasn't traumatized. No one wants her. She's trying to make herself part of the story, which is extremely dangerous. But this is what Democrats do, and they're good at it. Look at Ballsy Ford. She claims that someone tried to rape her, but she doesn't know who, where, when, or what, but we're supposed to believe her. But then when it came to Tara Reade, who was molested, assaulted by Joe Biden, oh, okay, she told the story. Next, move on. Do you guys see what's happening here? They're demonizing the right, and it has to stop. Andrew, how's it going?
It's going good, Rob. And something that came to my mind when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez got busted lying was, you remember back the final night of the Republican National Convention, when the Republicans were leaving Donald Trump's speech, they were literally getting spat at and cursed at by Black Lives Matter and Antifa as they were leaving. There's shots of Rand Paul leaving with his wife, and there's protesters screaming in their face, flicking them off. Police officers had to surround them. And people like AOC were silent about that.
Completely silent.
And that had to be much more scary for Senator Paul than being down the street as a riot is taking place, like what happened in Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's instance. She wasn't even at the Capitol. She was pretty much down the road, a few blocks away.
I mean, look at this. Look at this. What we have on the screen right now.
Yeah.
But she's claiming that you can't believe your eyes because it's a lot closer and that they were there and that they were looking for her. Looking for her, they wanted Mitch McConnell. They wanted Mike Pence. Their life, if anyone's life was in danger, it was their lives, not her. They could have cared less about her. Yes, I know that someone said that, hey, we're going to kill her. Okay, fine. They said that about Donald Trump. They've been saying that. Nancy Pelosi, not Nancy Pelosi, but Maxine Waters even said at one point that she would take him out. But, nothing to see here until this woman comes up and says, oh, yeah, and they were banging on the door. And they were saying, where is she? What? This is insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and here you go again. The mainstream media is giving her a complete pass on it, saying, oh, well, she had a right to be afraid. She was getting all these death threats online and all this other crap. It's just no consistency with the media, no consistency with what AOC says. After this, how can you ever believe anything this woman says again? You remember a couple of years ago, the photo op where she's crying at the fence in front of a parking lot, acting like she was upset about children being locked up in cages. We'll see if she's consistent on that as well with the Biden administration now.
Oh, I agree. I mean, because Biden is once again saying that he's going to open up the so-called concentration camps and put the kids in it. I mean, no one is saying anything. No, mind you, Barack Obama started this. And the fact, again, that the media chose to make it seem as if though it was Donald Trump putting kids in cages, when in actuality it was Barack Obama. And they chose not to correct the record once we saw that the tapes that they were showing were from 2016. And to this day, they're yet to correct the record. And what is Biden doing now? Oh, well, we're going to open it up and we're going to let the kids go back in and, because we want to protect them. We want as many people can come in as possible. Oh, and by the way, when they come in, we're going to make certain that they get the vaccine. Vaccines that we Americans need. He wants them to get the vaccine. You can't make this stuff up. You just can't make it up. The vaccine that we were told, don't take the vaccine because it's Trump's vaccine. But now we see that liberals, white, rich liberals, are going around, going from state to state, undercover, trying to take the vaccine. But they were telling everyone, don't take the vaccine. We want black and brown people to take the vaccine. Now who's taking the vaccine? White liberals. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but these are the people that have destroyed this or are destroying America. Mm-hmm. And as what's his name said, Malcolm X, white liberals are the most dangerous people out there. Even Van Jones made the same comment when the whole Karen deal was birthed. He said that we don't have to worry about white supremacists. We have to worry about the white liberals that support Hillary Clinton. Quiet as it's kept. No one wants to say anything about it. But here at MagaMedia, robjh1 and at Small Town Andrew After Dark, we're going to mention it. We're going to put it out there because the truth has to be said. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, and also speaking of vaccines, the Biden administration's made the brilliant decision to give the vaccine to 9/11 terrorists. One of the masterminds of the 9/11 attack is actually on board to get the vaccine very soon, apparently. And then I just read a news story that apparently inmates in Oregon are receiving the vaccine before the seniors and elderly have got it. Just the priorities of the liberal left are completely out of whack.
It doesn't make any sense. Why are we giving criminals the vaccine? I mean, I'm not trying to sound inhumane. Taking the vaccine to Guantanamo Bay. Why don't we first try to vaccine the people that are here, the elderly that are here? But of course, liberals don't care about them. The Biden administration does not care about them, although they say they do. But it just goes back to Barack Obama in saying that he's going to kill grandma and grandpa. They don't care about those people. They want to make certain that they inoculate the prisoners, the people at Guantanamo Bay and in the prison system, so that you can have attorney generals like the ones in California who's going to let them out and wreak havoc on society. Look around you at these blue states. Look at the murder rate, the crime rate that has shot up. I look at New York City. Why, in God's name, but people vote for de Blasio. I never liked the guy. I didn't know who he was until he was elected, but I never trusted him. But then when I started doing my research and I found out that he was all for communism, he was all for lawlessness, I'm like, I would never vote for him. But you know what happens? New York City is a very liberal city. So what happens? You have the white liberals, yes, the white liberals who are always messing up things. Oh, well, we're going to vote for him because it's his turn. And then once he starts to mess things up, they get mad. I can't believe this. Look at the homeless around here. Look at the people, they're just all over the place. I just can't deal with this. I'm in little chat rooms about New York City, and they're complaining. One of our guests, attorney Manny Alejandro, has said the same thing. They complain nonstop. To say, on the streets, why are they on the subway? Why are they on the subway get free ride? Why can't they pay their way? Oh no, don't say that. So what does de Blasio do? Oh, he turns a blind eye. He lets crime run rampant. Black Lives Matter walking through the streets, burning things down. Oh, and that's okay. And Letitia James, our Attorney General, what does she say? Oh, well, the police, they were hard-handed on the rioters, on the protesters, and they were too tough, so I need to investigate them. Investigate what? Letitia, you're a Black woman. Whose community is it going to affect the crime? Black communities. But yet, and still, oh, it's racism if we arrest these people. Are you serious? Now you look at New York City, rampant. The crime rate is up. You look in the Black neighborhoods. You see people shooting each other, broad daylight. And what do white liberals do? Oh, it's bad. It's a bad thing, but we're not going to say anything because lest they say that we're racist. It has nothing to do with being racist. It has to do with following the law. And then what do they do when it gets so bad? Keep everything shut down. The same liberals who fight against charter schools, schools shut down, the public schools, they take their kids to charter schools. But God forbid, Black kids go to charter schools. Oh, no, 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 we don't want that. They must go to public schools that are failing in their district. We don't want them to go to charter schools. But when the schools shut down, the white liberals take their kids to charter schools. And no one says a darn thing about it. Fake. They are fake and they're dangerous. They should be on the most wanted list. They should be on the domestic terrorist list. They're fake. They're frauds. And you look around you, all these big liberal states and cities, they're the ones that are there. And when things don't go right, they move out and they take their crazy ideas with them. It's really sad.
Yeah, well said, Rob. When I was in Seattle, they've got a big homeless problem, obviously. And when I was at one of the shops there, they had this homeless guy that was outside screaming and cursing at the customers. He had his tent set up right outside of the shop. And the shop owner finally called the police. And instead of sending the police in Seattle, they send these 3 guys on bicycles with ambassador on their chest. They've got a thing that says ambassador, and these guys have no weapons. Their only thing they could do was try and talk this homeless guy into switching spots. It did absolutely nothing. Do they have that kind of crap in New York City as well?
Well, we have police that are running around on bikes, but mainly they're in the cars. And when they do see crime, they look the other way. They're too busy trying to chase subway jumpers as opposed to really looking at crime. I mean, the other day, 2 weeks ago, about a week ago, we had a naked man dancing around in the subway. And he pushed another innocent man onto the train tracks, and a Good Samaritan went to help the guy. And what does a naked man do? He attacks a Good Samaritan. And the Good Samaritan floored him, knocked him out. And the guy unfortunately fell, I say unfortunately, but fell on the 3rd rail, and he got electrocuted. Those are the people that the police should be after, as opposed to people who are jumping the subway, or the people who are saying, hey, I'm not going to wear a mask. They'll make a big hoopla about that. Who's giving these crazy orders? I mean, it's like, go after real crime. But of course, our crazy Mayor de Blasio and his crazy wife, Charlene, who lost, by the way, $9 billion on a project that she was working on. How do you lose $9 billion? It's just, I mean, I want to say I've never met a liberal who's, well, it's true. I never met a liberal whose ideology that I really embraced or liked, because they're dangerous people. And that is the reason why you see situations like Seattle and Portland. And right today, they're still protesting in Seattle and Portland. And, well, not protesting, it's actually rioting because they're burning down places. And we're told nothing to see here, while the mayor of Portland decided to maze someone about a month ago. But look, nothing to see here. Just move along, move along. We're too busy focusing on the rioters, the insurrection, so they say, on Capitol Hill. It's like they had no weapons. They had no guns. Okay, so what were they trying to insurrect? It's just a big lie.
Mm-hmm. I guess the big news today is Congresswoman Marjorie Greene has been removed from her committee assignments. 11 House Republicans joined the Democrats in voting to remove her. Just absolutely ridiculous, and another instance of cancel culture. The people who voted for her knew what she stood for. They knew all of her thoughts and beliefs, and they still voted for her. That's how the country works. That's why we have over 200 congressmen all over the country. So everybody has a chance to be represented. But apparently nowadays, if the liberals don't agree with your stances and think that you're kind of controversial, they just completely censor you and take you off.
Yeah, I agree. It's really sad because I've been following this story. I've actually reached out to Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene to see if she will come on the show. So we're working on that. So stay tuned. Hopefully she'll respond. But now, some of the things that she said, I mean, they're way out there, kind of loony. The whole Sandy Hooks, I do believe that it happened. People were killed. 9/11, I believe that it did happen. I mean, she was of a different thought at the time when she made those comments. Today, she gave a rather passionate plea on the floor of the House, which I thought was such an eye-opener. Regardless as to whether or not she said it or she didn't say it, it was said before she came to the House. Now, to the contrary, Ilhan Omar saying that something happened on 9/11, and then our liberties were taken.
Mm-hmm.
Ilhan Omar was saying, oh, follow the money, follow the Benjamins, baby. It's Israel. Rashida Tlaib palling around with, Farrakhan, writing for the Farrakhan paper.
Linda Sarzer also.
Against the Jews. Oh, Linda, oh my God, I forgot about that idiot. Okay. Then you have a Cori Bush, who's a Black Lives Matter representative. She's on the Hill now. All these people have made inflammatory remarks while on the Hill. When Ilhan Omar first started talking, they were saying, we need to get rid of her. What did Republicans do? Well, they sat on their hands because they didn't want anyone to say that they were racist or misogynist, or that they don't like women, or they don't like Muslims. I don't give a flying rat's behind. If I were there, I would be protesting. Kick her out. Get her out of her committees because she is a threat. She was doing at a House meeting trying to undress a statesman. And when he tried to defend himself, she said, no, you can't. It's my time. That's not a question. Now, just think about this. Think about what the radical Muslims are doing when they see this, saying, aha, so that's the way we can get to them. Get there, we probably can't be president, but those idiots, they will elect us to be representatives and senators. So that's what we do. That's the sign that she's putting out there with her nastiness. Okay, Rashid Tlaib. Some of my best friends are Muslims. So someone would say, oh, you would say that. Muslims are good people. But then there are the radicals, just like there are radical Christians. She is a radical. Why aren't they pushing? Why weren't they pushing to have her removed from her committees? AOC, she should be removed from her committees. For one, she's too young. She doesn't know which end is up. But, Republicans, they'll just sit there and let it go and like, oh, we don't want to be said that, we're racist or that we're radicals. While the Democrats are doing it nonstop, they don't care about you, Lindsey Graham. They don't care about you, Mitt Romney. But I'm sure you know that. So why don't you guys just change your party to just move over and just say that you're more moderate Democrats? Because there's nothing Republican about you at all. You can be a moderate Democrat and still be fiscal conservative. Okay. Why don't you just move over Ben Sass? These people should be up in their faces and saying, we want Eric Swalwell out. Why is he still an impeachment manager? I cannot figure that out for the life of me. Why is he still there? Why hasn't anyone pushed back? Lindsey Graham, Jim Jordan, Gates, why aren't you guys pushing back? He should not be there. No, I know that as far as a house, they have more members than you, but at least make a stink about it. And the fact that they have removed Marjorie Taylor Greene from her post, this is just the beginning. So now Republicans won't say anything. They'll just be quiet out of fear that they might get removed also. At some point, you guys have got to learn to fight, which is what she said. She said that the Republicans are good at losing gracefully. Mitch McConnell. When they came out for her, I would have been quiet. And what did the Democrats say? Oh, well, remember they removed one of their other members from one of his committees. Well, he should have been removed because he was a knucklehead. He was saying things while he was there. But this woman, she made the comments before she came to the House. People knew in Georgia knew what they were getting. But you have Democrats that are saying foul things while they're there. AOC said that Ted Cruz wanted her murdered. She should have been censored. Everyone in unison should have said, you cannot make that type of comment because it's untrue. But they said absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. The same thing with Adam Schiff when he got there during the impeachment hearings and made up a complete lie about the president. No, he's allowed to do it on the House floor. But he should have been called out in more ways than one. When you let these comments go unchallenged, they become believable. It gets into the dialogue of the American people and people will believe it. And they won't hear where they said, well, that was a lie. No, he said it was truthful because no one pushed back. So now we have a congresswoman who's still on the Hill, but removed from her committee. Eric Swalwell is still on his committee. The intelligence community, after finding out that he had an affair with the Chinese agent. Where is she now? He probably gave her a tip to go back to China. Maxine Waters on the budget committee. After saying that she would take out the president. After telling people that they should surround Trump supporters and tell them that they're not welcome. She's still on her committee. This is disgraceful. This is America. And people must be called out. And the fact, as we started with, that AOC said that someone was trying to kill her, I don't care what type of trauma she had. When you lie, there are consequences. See a shrink, why don't you? But the people on the Hill are afraid to call her out because if they do, we might remove you from your committee. Well, by God, I don't know what America we're living in, but this is getting under people's skin. And this is the reason why people are pushing back. Regular citizens are starting to push back in anger. I am not promoting violence. But when you let this kind of craziness take place, you have wackadoodles out there that are going to strike back. This has got to stop. There has to be accountability. There has to be. Marjorie Taylor Greene should not have been removed from her position.
Mm-hmm.
But the Republicans didn't have the votes.
They shouldn't have even entertained the Democrats trying to remove her.
Kevin McCarthy, I have no confidence in him whatsoever. He's weak. He is weak. We need strong people out there that are fighting for us. Like I said, I don't agree with some of the things she said, but she is a fighter. And that I like. That I admire. And she's a woman. Again, Democrats trying to silence the voice of a woman while letting this crazy woman, Khalid Omar, I don't even believe I think she's just saying she's a Muslim. I doubt seriously she follows the tenets of the religion.
Well, she cheats a lot, that's for sure.
Exactly, I was about to say that. For one, she cheated with a white man, a white liberal. She married a brother, so they say, just to get him here. We're yet to get to the bottom of that story. Now, some people would say, that's conspiracy, that's conspiracy. Well, get to the bottom of it. Prove it wrong. This is disgraceful. That this is our government, and we're allowing this sham to take place. All the while, all this is taking place. Meanwhile, Biden is going crazy, signing everything that's put in front of him to rip America apart. Trade deals, letting more illegal aliens come in here, looking at packing the court. They're doing this hoping that you guys aren't watching. I tell you this, come 2022, I don't care if you go to the polls, vote absent ballot, get your butts to the polls, get your ballots in there. Know what you need to do and vote, because we need to take over. And when we take over, show them no mercy whatsoever. Remove them from committees. Let them bitch and moan and cry. I don't care, because they don't care. They're ripping the country apart. It would be one thing if they had the sanctity of the country at the forefront, but they don't. They have these crazy ideologies that make absolutely no sense. This is shameful. And then you have the guy who's over defense secretary, Lloyd Austin, who's saying, oh, the people in the military, they're extremists. The military has been around for how long? It was around before desegregation. Yet and still, we fought wars and we won. So now you're going to say that they're extremists that are trying to overthrow the government? Are you serious? Have you no shame, sir? This is the same guy who helped to, what was it? He gave the Syrians weapons. The Syrian rebels, that is. Have you no shame to go against your own military? Now, some would say, oh, well, there were military guys on January 6th, and there were regular people. Look at the people who are out marching for Black Lives Matter. You have police officers. You have Mitt Romney marching with them. Do we need to watch him also? It's like you want to condemn one, but not condemn the other. People see this. Granted, the media has silenced a lot of voices and big tech because they don't want this out there. Then you have a few crazy knuckleheads on Fox News and Newsmax, but still people see this. And this shouldn't be happening. And this is what China is laughing at, and Russia. They're not laughing at President Trump. They were mad at him because he was putting them in their place. But now they're laughing because the people at the top, the Biden administration, are behaving like idiots. Well, we're going to decide to go back into this agreement with Iran. We're going to join the Paris peace deal or whatever. What is that doing for our bottom line? We want America to pay more money. We're going to send our troops back to Germany. Germany for what? Can't they defend themselves? They sure as hell won't defend us when we have when it's time to have the meeting with the General Assembly at the UN. They use that moment just to poo-poo all over on us. And we sit there and roll over like little dogs. Andrew, I tell you, it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it really is. And speaking of Democrats silencing conservatives, one of our frequent guests, Jeffrey Perrine, who has just been elected to the Sacramento City Council, is now being censored himself. They're removing him from his committee assignment, even though he rightfully earned it. They're saying his past affiliation with the Proud Boys does not represent the GOP. Even though he's denounced white supremacy and violence and racism, they're still going to move along. And mid-February, he's got a hearing to see if he will get removed. Tuesday night, we will have Jeffrey on to talk about this, being in the city council and their attempts to remove him now. Back to the GOP. It's so funny. People like Mitch McConnell, Liz Cheney, Paul Ryan, and all these rhinos just thought that President Trump and his supporters would go away after this election fraud, which is never going to happen. The party is out of their hands, despite how badly they think that it's going to come back to them. The American people have been woken up. Trump and his supporters will not go away. This is the new GOP. People like Mitch McConnell are going to be left in the dust here in a couple of years, hopefully.
Mitch McConnell is a swamper. He did some good things when he got those federal judges nominated, but along the way, if you just think about it, there was always a pause when it came time to defend the president. He was always pausing. He was never just like totally committed. And then as soon as January 6th came, he was quick to go out there and just throw the president under the bus, saying there was a president who said there was a president. Excuse me. And I am extremely troubled by conservative writers, pundits, politicians who choose to say that the president did, cause for an insurrection because he did it. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to listen to what the president said and to realize that he didn't say go to the White House and storm the White House and do X, Y, Z. Yes, he did say hopefully Mike Pence would do the right thing. Okay. And the right thing was to say, I'm going to send the votes back to the states so that they can recertify them there or to look at them. That was all Mike had to do. We know that Mike couldn't unilaterally decide that, oh, I'm not going to do this. Now, that being said, Mike could have gone rogue and said, no, this was a stolen election and this is what we're going to do. But he didn't. Okay. So when you have all these pundits who are there that are saying that, conservative writers, they're showing their true colors because they never care for Trump. They're saying, well, yeah, President Trump, he did cause an insurrection and he shouldn't have done it, but I don't think he should be removed from office, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, wait a minute, slow down, slow your roll. Because you just said something that was false. He did not call for an insurrection. Okay, he did not. Those people acted on their own. And when other Trump supporters saw this, they thought, wow, people are getting the balls and they're standing up. But they didn't mean that, hey, they supported the violence. The fact that they went to the Hill to march, which is the same thing Black Lives Matter has been doing from the spring through the summer up until this day. The only exception is that Black Lives Matter and Antifa has been burning down buildings, harassing people, putting people in jail. Trump supporters have not done that. So there is a big difference. So when I see people on Fox News saying, oh, well, there's an insurrection, like, no, you're wrong. He did not call for an insurrection. Get the facts straight. That is the reason why you're losing in the polls as far as viewership. We're not dumb. So please stop treating us or talking down to us. We heard what happened. We saw what happened. I played what happened. I played a compilation as to what he said and what they said. And it is a big difference. And now you have people who are afraid to say, no, there was malfeasance taking place that took place during the election. They're afraid to say that because they're afraid that they might get canceled. They're afraid that people might say, oh, you're lying. They're afraid that people might get upset because they know that it did take place. Okay, well, we're big boys and girls. You can say that there was malfeasance. You can say that it was stolen. We're not going to go crazy. We go crazy when you want to deny it. And you want us to believe that what we saw, we didn't see. What we heard, we didn't hear. When you have people from different states who did not know each other, who was unaware of what the other person was going to say, who gave sworn affidavits that things weren't right. We saw how judges changed the laws. The judges can't change the law. It has to be the state legislatures. Yes, the judge is a judge, is supposed to know the law, but according to the law, they can't make those changes. And for you to think that we're going to believe that that is okay, that is wrong. Yes, that makes my blood boil because you want me to think that I am an idiot, and I am not an idiot. I saw what happened. And so did 75 million other Trump supporters. We saw the same thing. And when you try to diminish what we saw and to just pass us off as if though we don't know anything, yes, we do get angry because we stand for law and order. We stand for what is right and not what is wrong. We love this country and we love the Constitution. So simply because the Democrats cheated and lied and said that Biden got more votes than any other president, a lie. And if it did happen, it is because people voted more than once, more than twice, probably voted 12 times, including dead people, including people's dogs and animals. That's what happened. That is the truth. And if it didn't happen, why are they so afraid to have the election audited? We're not saying that it's going to change anything. At this point, I don't want them to go, oh, well, yep, we do see that there was malfeasance and that Biden didn't win. We're going to put Trump in. No, I don't want that now because I want Biden to fall flat on his face, which is what he's doing with these crazy policies. What we want is the truth to come out, fair and square. But trying to silence the truth simply because you guys don't want it heard, simply because you're afraid of the truth, by silencing other voices on social media and whatnot, it's ridiculous. And speaking of social media, Andrew, what do you think about Parler and the CEO?
Yeah, from what I've seen, I'm not convinced that he was doing a great job anyways. He seemed pretty weak in his position and trying to get the company back. It's a little concerning that they're firing their CEO and the website's not even up and running. But I'm really hopeful that this ends up being good news and they can make a comeback, because social media desperately needs some alternatives to Twitter. Gab.com is doing a decent job, still have some problems with their load times and their format and whatnot. Pill.net is a great platform for streaming and stuff, but we definitely need more good free speech platforms out there, because that Twitter is just turning into a echo chamber for idiots on there, just completely censoring one side of the equation, and just basically liberals jerking each other off on there, it seems like nowadays.
Yeah, I agree with you. We need additional voices, and that is the reason why we say to you guys, we want to thank you, like Megan, who's always there, Joni, with us every night, and we really appreciate your loyalty, your devotion to hearing I don't even want to say our spin, but our analysis of the news, fair and balanced. You don't have to agree with us, but we appreciate you coming on when we are on. And the best thing you can do for us is to share the feed with others and tell them, hey, you got to watch Rob and Andrew. We had a rather large following when we were on Twitter and Periscope. I mean, sometimes we get up to, I think in one night, like 10,000 people communicating with us. It's a little difficult to do now because the other platforms trying to get established, get your name out there. It hasn't been easy. And as we said, that they're still trying to grow also. So the best thing you could do for us is to share the broadcast, make it a point to tune in. Even if you're not watching, just tune in and just let it stay on, or have listening or watching parties. We would really appreciate it, your support by getting it out there. Now, going back to Parler and John Mates, the CEO of Parler, Andrew and I had said quite some time that we felt that he wasn't a strong leader. He appeared on some of the shows on TV, and he said that he was in hiding and that people were threatening him. He just didn't seem as if though he had the fire in the belly. Because you think of other platforms that were kicked off and then they would back up within a day's time, like a lot of porn platforms. But of course, when there's ever something like that, they're going to put them back up. That being said, I'm sure that there's more to the story, but I mean, it's February and they should have been up by now. Now, I know that there are a lot of other factors that you have to take into consideration, like this crazy judge, I want to say her name, Barbara Rothstein, who decided on January 21st that Parler really didn't have a case, and that she didn't feel that if it were to go to court, that a jury would decide that they had the right to be on AWS. Now, I am not an attorney. I have taken some legal courses because of my background in journalism. And to me, it would appear and seem that the judge, Barbara Rothstein, is an activist judge. It's not her decision to say, well, I don't feel as if though you have a case or that a jury would rule on your behalf. No, she's entitled to her opinion. Okay. But he didn't go to her as if though he wanted her to hear the case just right out. Now, I would think a judge with good jurisprudence would have said, okay, I am going to issue an injunction, and I'm going to say that they must be put back on the platform for the next 90 days. We hear things like that taking place all the time. Why did this judge do that? I would like to look and see who donated to her campaign, whose dinner party she's been at, because to me, there's something wrong with that judgment. It wouldn't have hurted her to say AWS, the world's largest web system, service system, put them back up, considering you have Twitter and Facebook. And if you look at those accounts at any given point in time, you can see all manner of degradation. You can see all manner of them plotting. How do you think all of these different protests took place over the spring and the summer? It was planned on Twitter and Facebook when it was taking place around the world. And the media was just loving it. Oh man, they planned this on Facebook and on social media as to when to do this, these flash mobs. And then you're going to have a cow because you think that people plan January 6th on Facebook and Twitter? Well, if Twitter thought or felt that something was wrong, why didn't they just take down that tweet? Why did you take down the tweet of hundreds of conservatives? It just doesn't add up. You don't have to have a law degree to figure out that something doesn't add up here. Okay? And I'm sorry, I will call Barbara Rothstein out. This is a kind of show that we need to have on TV with us calling out the media every darn night and day. Tucker Carlson does a good job, but we need more voices that are out there doing it because they need to be called out. The ruling of this judge was misplaced. She should not have ruled that way. And I'm surprised that no one else had justice. The Department of Justice is always getting involved in things, and some things that I feel that they shouldn't be involved in. Why haven't they said anything about this? Why haven't they said, wait a minute, we need to look at this because this doesn't make sense. Why is it that AWS, Twitter, and Facebook have silenced a lot of conservative voices? Even William Barr knew that was the case. But again, William Barr only went in my humble opinion, based upon what I have seen and studied, is that he only joined the Trump White House to protect, yes, I'm saying it, to protect the deep swamp. Because had they moved forward with impeachment based upon Russia collusion, John Brennan, James Comey, Peter Strzok, and a lot of the others would have fallen down like dominoes. So he went in and put the kaput on it so that it wouldn't happen. Do your investigation, look at the timeline, and look at some of the things that he has said in the past. Go to Facebook, look at my Facebook page, Multicultural Conservative Foundation. Go to MagaMedia.org, look there, we have posted the same videos because he was adamant up through the spring and summer that mail-in ballots was a recipe for cheating, a recipe for malfeasance. He was adamant that people spied on the Trump campaign. He was adamant that things went wrong. And then all of a sudden, once he was able to shut it down, he moved into a different direction. I don't trust him. There was something wrong there. We have to get to the bottom of this. Don't hold your breath on John Durham. I hate to say it, but I don't think he has the ump or the push to prosecute these people. Look at the guy who the other day got off on a sweetheart deal. He should be in prison. Look at what they wanted to do to a lot of Trump associates. Look at Mike Flynn. The judge wanted to refuse to release the case, to drop the charges. He kept pushing it. He was fighting it tooth and nail. And why? He was told to vacate his decision, let it go, but he refused. He started having all these people to submit briefs to him. He was completely unhinged, completely out of control, and no one called him on it. A.G. Barr should have said, we're going to investigate him. He should have been impeached. Like Elise Hastings, who was a Democrat judge from Louisiana, he was impeached for taking bribes. But where does he show up? He's now in the House of Representatives. He's a Democrat. You see where I'm going with this? Whenever it is a Democrat, it is a different story. I don't trust Barr. I was a huge proponent of Barr. I supported him. But then once I took a step back, and I think it was Jeff Prurin, who was on our show, he said that he didn't trust him. And I started doing my research, and I'm like, by God, he is right. The guy is a swamper. He talked a good talk. But again, do the research. Look at the timing of it. It does not smell right. And if we do not succeed in 2022, things won't be right. They will change the face of this country forever. That is a reason why they want to silence Trump. They don't want him to run again. He's out of office. If they felt that he lost fair and square in 2020, why are they so afraid if he runs again? What are they afraid of? Why won't they do an audit of the votes? Why do they want to stop Trump? Why do they want to stop your voices? There's something here that we must get to the bottom of. Go ahead, Andrew.
Well said, Rob. Just to follow up on that, a lot of shakeups lately with the businesses, some major corporations, not just the Parler CEO, John Meats, being replaced, but you've also got Bezos stepping down as the CEO of Amazon. The guy who actually made the decision to pull the plug on Parler is going to be the new CEO of Amazon. So looks like some more tech censorship is on the way there from Amazon, because they do a lot of web hosting besides just selling merchandise. And then Zucker, the CEO of fake news CNN, is going to step down. What is it, at the end of 2021 or something like that?
Can't happen any sooner.
Yeah, so he will be gone as well. Have to wonder if these people are getting out of business because they see what Joe Biden's doing to the economy and realize it's a smart idea to sell now, because everything's going to lose value pretty soon here.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that Jeff Zucker is stepping down. I mean, he did nothing for CNN, and I think now, not that they didn't know it, they knew that he was a failure. He came from NBC or CBS. He was a failure, a little Napoleon complex. He was able to ride the tail of President Trump. President Trump kept him powered. President Trump got a lot of people hired in the mainstream media, in the fake news media. And now that he's gone, they don't have a story. Now the truth is being exposed that they are nothing. They're vacuous. It's an empty shell. There's nothing there. Anderson Cooper is a zero. Andrew Cuomo is a zero. Don Lemon is a complete zero. So there's nothing there for them to talk about but to ponder over Joe Biden. Oh, he's this. Oh, he gave the best speech. Oh, my God. And what is he eating? No one wants to hear that BS. While you see the country is falling apart, they should kick Jeff Zucker out. The head of AT&T, they own CNN. It's my understanding they can't pay anybody to buy CNN because it's a failed establishment. And then as for Bezos stepping down, I mean, he's going to make himself, as they always do, the head honcho of Amazon after he's managed to just become such a billionaire with this shutdown and have everybody going to him to buy things. And that's something else, folks, I want you to think about. It was around this time in 2020 when we started seeing, this unseemly virus, China virus, ripping, all types of devastation on the economy. And they were talking about shutting things down and whatnot. And think about this. They had said that we should shut down everything. Just shut it down and just wait. Shut it completely down. Now knowing what we know now, I was never a proponent for that. Had we shut everything down for a month like they wanted, of course, it would have just wreaked havoc on the economy. Jeff Bezos would have gotten rich because people were still ordering from him. But think about it. Common sense following the science that they love to talk about. Had we shut everything down, people inside, their immune systems are getting weak, and then all at once, we're going to open up. The moment we open up, every virus known to man would have attacked us. Where would we have gone? What would have happened? What would have been the purpose for shutting things down? No rhyme or reason. But they wanted you to believe that if you shut it down, everything will be better. Everything would go away. Shut it down for what? We had no vaccines. So why would we have shut it down? Dr. Fauci has never explained that. Well, herd immunity, bull. Shutting it down is not going to get you that. Your immune system would have been weakened because you weren't out and about. Mm-hmm. But they wanted to shut it down. And then, okay, wear the mask. That mask will never go away. They want to keep that mask. They want to keep, it's really a muzzle on you because they'll probably move to that next wearing a leather muzzle. They want to keep that on you. And then the vaccine. Oh, we've got to have a vaccine. We got the vaccine and now we can't get it in enough arms. It's a charade, folks. It's all a facade and they're lying. Yes, China virus does exist. Yes, you can get it. Yes, you need to take care of yourself. Yes, some of us will survive. It is unfortunate that others will die. But when you look at the numbers of people who have gotten the virus and kicked it and survived, what are the numbers? Oh, you don't know. You know why you don't know? Because they won't report that to you. The only thing they want you to know is that people died. People are dying. But if you look at fake news CNN, they don't have that chart up there all the time as they used to talk about all the time. Look at how many people died every day. Oh, 12 million people, this many people. And mind you, in October, they told you that 2 million people would be dead by now. We're not close to that. And if we do get there, blame Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
It's his fault.
Mm-hmm. Big credit to the only two governors in the United States who did a good job during this coronavirus pandemic, in my opinion, is Florida's Ron DeSantis and North Dakota's Kristi Noem. Those two stuck their neck on the line. They did not shut down their states whatsoever, and their economy is really paying off right now. Kristi Noem tweeted that North Dakota has more jobs now than when the pandemic started. So it just goes to show the states who held on did not lock down. If you look at their death rates, it's not any higher than any of the liberal states that have been locked down for almost a year now. So they stuck it out, and their economy is still flourishing. Their citizens have still been making money throughout this entire pandemic, and the death rate is no different. Sweden's another example. Yep. The numbers trend about the same as what they do all over Europe, where they are locked down. So the lockdowns versus no lockdowns, based on all the evidence that we've seen, they make absolutely no difference, except if you don't lock down, you're able to save your economy and not go trillions of dollars in debt like we are.
Yep, able to save the economy, which is what we want to do. But of course, like I said, liberals, they don't want that. They want everything to be they want to destroy everything by locking everything up while they're out having fun. Just the example that I gave with the schools. You now have the Chicago mayor, Lori Lightfoot, blaming the president. Oh, this is the president's fault. The president has nothing to do with your school board, has nothing to do with your crazy teachers union. Okay, I feel sorry for the teachers because these unions have scared the bejesus out of them, got them thinking, you're going to die, you're going to die. Those little kids are going to give you the cooties and you're going to die. No, they want more money so they can pay the union leaders. Open the freaking schools, okay? If you can open up the strip joint, you can open up the liquor store, you can open up the schools and do it safely, okay? Oh, we need more money for this. No, you blew up your budget, okay? Stop it. Just stop it. If you stop trying to teach kids about the birds and the bees and teach them the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s, you'll do a better job. You're trying to teach them about something that's completely out of your domain. Completely out of it. Boys have periods and girls, it's stupid. Stop it. Just stop it. We don't need you teaching them about science that doesn't make any sense because that's not science. Just stop it. Get the teachers back into the classrooms, okay? Absolutely. And stop this stupidness. It's ridiculous. We want more money. Money for what? Get into the classrooms and teach. We'll have a generation of kids left behind. Meanwhile, you'll have these liberal idiots sending their kids to charter schools, messing that up with these crazy ideas. And then the other kids will just be there. It's really sad. It's really sad. And like, folks, think about it and look at what they're doing. They fought against charter schools and now they're sending their kids to charter schools while they're keeping the public schools shut down, wanting more money. And if the public schools were to open up with a lot of money, they'll throw their kids back in there to create complete havoc. Don't call him a he, just call him an it. Like kids at the school here, they don't even refer to the teachers as Mr. and Mrs. They call them by their first names. And I'm like, why? Oh, well, we don't know if that person is a Mr. or a Mrs. What? Cut this bull crap out. This is ridiculous. Man.
Mm-hmm. Well, Rob, it looks like Hunter Biden is going to cash in once again. This time he is writing a book on addiction, something that I'm sure he happens to be an expert in. But Apparently, he signed a high six-figure deal with Simon and Schuster to write a book on addiction. It's the same book company that canceled Senator Josh Hawley's book for not voting along with the certification process on January 6th. So it looks like Hunter Biden will have another outlet to make some money here. Looks like this could be another excuse for why he can start all of a sudden claiming millions of dollars, just like all the Democrats do. It's like, oh, I wrote a book now, so I can say I'm worth $50 million or whatever the hell the guy's worth.
Well, here's my take on Hunter Biden in this book. I think it's confirmed now that the pictures that we've been seeing that have been circulating in the media that they want to hide are in fact Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden in a hot tub trying to cover up his hairy chest with a blunt in his mouth. Hunter Biden under the covers with a blunt hanging out of his mouth, drunk. Hunter Biden with his shirt pants open, taking a selfie with some faceless woman. Hunter Biden with his butt showing. Hunter Biden, Hunter Biden. Okay, I've heard enough of Hunter Biden and his craziness. The book needs to be thrown at Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden is trying to once again make money off of his dad. Now, mind you, liberals will probably send this book to the bestseller list, just like they've done to Michelle's book and Barack Obama. Now, whether or not they're reading the books is a different story. But I think a lot of them go in and buy the books up so that they can say, oh, it's number one. I think a lot of corporations buy these books up just to say, oh, it's number one. They buy the books and then they put them in some storage shed. I don't think that many people are buying these ridiculous books because what do they possibly have to say? Hunter Biden is only 50 years old. What does he possibly have to tell us? When I was growing up, you didn't write a book until you're like in your 60s or your 70s to talk about your life, or a book didn't get written about you until you were dead. But now we have 16-year-olds writing books about their life. What? Look at that little kid, that little climate changer girl. She's written a book. Everyone has written a book about their little miserable lives. I will pass on Hunter Biden and his book. I think the book is titled Beautiful Things. About what? Oh, well, he suffered from addiction. Hunter, you still have an addiction. One of them is lying, not telling the truth, trying to get rich off of your dad, supporting your dad. What does his dad and his stepmom say? Oh, we're so proud of him. Give me a freaking break.
Rob, speaking of the climate change, did you see the news with Greta Thunberg this week with her problems with India? Did you see any of that?
Well, I saw her and I turned it down. So what is she bitching about now?
Well, apparently the people of India really despise her. They were on the streets and burning photos of her and everything else after she accidentally tweeted out a leaked plan for her and her climate change group to do a farmers' protest in India. And the hope was that Indian police would be violent and hostile towards the protesters. And then their next phase was that they were going to send protesters to every India embassy across the world and protest there. Basically, now that they've got the United States cooperating with their climate change agenda, they're going after India. Well, apparently the people of India are not taking their crap, and they hate this little girl for trying to ruin their economy. She's not a little girl anymore, actually. She's 18 years old.
Yep.
But
fair game.
Yeah, it's a very interesting story if you decide to look into it. She was trending number one. Greta Thunberg exposed was what was trending. Basically, she tweeted out her whole plot. I have no doubt that they did the same thing right here in the United States. It was a plan. She tweeted it. They wanted to protest in mass numbers and basically have the police respond violently, and then they could make it worldwide protest against India. So she got busted before it came to fruition, thank goodness. And I hope the people of India keep doing what they're doing and they don't fall to the wayside like we are here in America. While China keeps polluting, we just keep making all these concessions to put ourselves further and further behind.
Yep, keep making concessions while we're putting ourselves further behind, and China just getting away with everything. No, I didn't see this thing about Greta. Like I said, I saw her and I turned it off because I don't like hearing her talk. But I'm glad she was exposed. She needs to be exposed for being the little twerp that she is. She's 18 years old, so we can say whatever the heck we want to say. And I'm going to call her out, and I'm going to call BS. Okay. They're putting this little kid up there, because they're thinking, oh, they can't attack her. No, we're not going to attack her. We're just going to call her out for the BS that she's putting out there. And I'm glad India stood up and that they're standing up and they're pushing back. She needs to stay in her own country with her lips sealed. Okay? That's it. But the media will use these kids and put them out there because they're afraid, well, no one will attack them, just like they did with David Hogg. They had him out there running around acting crazy. But when it came to the Adam Sand, what was the guy's name? The kid where the media attacked those boys they attacked this 2 summers ago, and he just recently won this settlement. Nick Sandman. It was okay for them to attack him. I mean, and they attacked him viciously, and he was a teenager, but they attacked him. Rules for thee, not for me. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable. And no, someone just reminded me that in addition to Hunter Biden's autobiography, again, I don't know what he's going to be writing about or if he can write, he's also becoming a painter in LA. Again, capitalizing off of his father to make more money. I don't know if he's living in the White House or not, but he shouldn't be showing his face, but he's showing his face because he's almost saying, you can't touch me. You can't do anything about me. And like I said, as I reported on Sunday, the person who's repping him is friends with the new guy who's over the defense, who's at the Department of Justice. He's over the criminal division. So they're going to be in cahoots. And we probably won't get to the bottom of that story either. So he gets to walk away scot-free, doing whatever he does best, smoking, being an addict, and getting rich off of his father's name. It's shameful. It's really shameful. It is really shameful.
It really is. And it's still unbelievable to think about that they impeached President Trump the first time for looking into this obvious corruption with Hunter Biden and his daddy, Joe Biden. Everybody knew that was corrupt. The Democrats started an impeachment trial before President Trump could get to the bottom of it. Yeah. We're seeing the same tactics here with this January 6th rally where they just try and change the narrative completely to fit their narrative. And if you disagree with them, you're the crazy one. That's how they like to frame things. They really do live in an alternative reality.
I completely. And, again, and what's sad about it is that the media has everyone thinking that what's happening is constitutional, and it isn't. It is so fake. Even Fox News, when they talk about it, they always say, well, we got the impeachment next week, and, they're going to see if they can convict the president. Okay, if you want to say that, that's fine. But I would always start off with, it is an unconstitutional impeachment that the Democrats are putting on. It should not happen. But they want to see if they can convict a president who has left office. Why can't they start off with that? Because it is unconstitutional. That's all they have to say. All of them. Everyone in the news should say, it is an unconstitutional act of Congress. They have Patrick Leahy, who's at the top. John Roberts, the Supreme Court, the head of the Supreme Court, has decided not to be there. Why isn't he going to be there? Because he knows it is unconstitutional. Why won't they say that? Because they want you to believe that it is constitutional, and it isn't. Look at the Constitution. What they're doing right now, it is a political act, just like impeachment is, but the political act that they're doing right now is unconstitutional. It has no bearing. The senators shouldn't even show up. I don't think the president should even put forth a defense unless his attorneys, and I'm told that they're very savvy, are going to flip this thing around and embarrass the Democrats. And I want to tell you, do not go in thinking that this is going to be a walk in the park by saying this is unconstitutional and we shouldn't do it. Because the Democrats in cahoots with the media and big tech are going to do their darnest to put out more garbage on this president. They want to ruin him. They don't want him to have a presidential library. heard just today that his net worth has been cut in half while he was working for the people. Now, mind you, the Democrats and the left, they want him penniless. They want him thrown in jail. That is their ultimate goal because he's living rent-free in their minds while they are doing what they're accusing him of. How can we get to the bottom of this? Well, we can't when you have people like Liz Cheney, Ben Sass, and Mitt Romney blocking everything. I want Marjorie Taylor Greene to come out forcefully. She's not kicked out of the Congress. They removed her from her committees, but that will not stop her. I want her to fight, fight, fight. I want her to expose these people. We need more people like her there on the Hill because these other rhinos are no good at all. So this whole impeachment thing is just that. It's a facade. It's fake. It should not happen. It's unconstitutional. No matter what they say, no matter what defenses they bring up there, it is unconstitutional. He is out of office. Well, we're going to censor him. You can't censor a private citizen. They don't have the power. It's an overreach. It is a power grab. And the media should be telling us this. They should say next week an unconstitutional act by the Congress will be taking place for theatrics. That is all it is for. They have dragged the president into this, and he has to get attorneys to speak on his behalf. But you should know that it is unconstitutional. Tell me and show me where it is constitutional. It isn't. If the tables were turned, the Democrats would be saying this nonstop, as well as the fake news media. It is unconstitutional. It's plain and simple. So no matter what they decide, it's unconstitutional.
Yeah, the first impeachment was definitely unconstitutional.
Yes.
This one is as well. The real reason they want to go after President Trump and his supporters and his legacy is because they know he was successful. The stock market was the best it had been in 30 years. Almost 4 million jobs created under President Trump in 4 years. More Americans were employed than ever recorded in history. New unemployment claims hit a 49-year low. Median household income hitting the highest level ever recorded. African American, Hispanic American, and Asian American unemployment hitting historic lows, and almost 4 million Americans lifted off of food stamps. President Trump was getting things done for the American people, and they want to erase all of that and just focus on basically identity politics and things like that, because they know the real issues are things that the American people can relate to, because we all want jobs, we all want to make a lot of money, and a lot more people are doing that under President Trump.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, he was the greatest. He fought for America, and like I said, now his net worth has been cut in half. You know, of course, the Democrats want him penniless. But it's just unreal. Well, something else I want to throw out there. Did you see the letter that he sent to the Screen Actors Guild?
Yeah, it was great, wasn't
That
that?
was brilliant. Who cares what you're doing? I don't know who you are anyway. I mean, again, they wanted him kicked. They want to just erase him from everything, from history. They want to pretend as though he did not exist. But if you forget history, you're doomed to repeat it. He did exist. Can you imagine had we said that about Barack Obama, who initially was not for gay rights, who initially told us that if you want your health care, you can keep it, who initially told Syria there's a line in the sand, who gave billions of dollars to Iran? And I don't care what people are saying, well, this was their money, we just had it in keepsake for them. They are a terrorist group. We should have never given it to them. When we find out there's a terrorist group in town, what do? We seize their assets. So we froze the assets of Iran. We should have kept the money, and we should have used that money to pay for damages that they have done to people that they hurt during their terrorist activity. But he gave the money back to them. Not good. But they want to erase President Trump, and they want everyone to think that all of his followers are white supremacists. Well, I'm black. I don't think I'm a white supremacist. Oh, but they'll say that I'm brainwashed. This is sad. This is dangerous. And we need people fighting for us, pushing back. Because right now, what the Democrats are doing is extremely dangerous. Read history. Look at Hitler. Look at what Hitler did. Now, some of them are just walking the walk. Some people on the outside are just walking the walk, completely unaware as to what's happening until it hits them. And then they'll wake up.
Absolutely right. And speaking of Hollywood, I happened to come across a series of funny tweets on Twitter from Chrissy Teigen. They were unintentionally funny, her making herself look like an idiot again. Apparently, she tweeted out, "One time, John and I were at a restaurant, and the waiter recommended a nice Cabernet. We got the bill, and it was $13,000. How do you casually recommend that wine? We didn't even finish it, and it had been cleared." And of course, she got crapped all over for her statements about complaining about paying $13,000 for wine. And I was reading the comments, and these liberals were shocked. They thought that they could relate to Chrissy Teigen. They can't believe that she drinks $13,000 bottles of wine. Some people were saying, your bottle of wine cost 3 times as much as my car cost. Other people said, your bottle of wine cost what I make in a year. She's just completely delusional. And how stupid do you have to be to send that tweet, not realizing what the average person makes? She's acting like a $13,000 bottle of wine is just a bad night for her. For most people, a loss of $13,000 is a serious life-changing event. Right. But after that, of course, she has to play the sympathy card, just like AOC does every single time. If you remember, she had that miscarriage a couple of months ago, and she told absolutely everyone that would listen about it. So she tweeted after that, and she got all her crap for bragging about her $13,000 wine. She tweeted, "Me sharing the story of getting screwed over by a waiter. I also shared a story of my rough week. The baby would have been born. I'm feeling anxious, sad, and you. Let's effing own this rich bitch for retweets." So just totally playing the victim after she made an idiotic statement. And it's just like, why do people like this not unplug from Twitter?
Well, I have the tweets up on the jumbo screen so everyone can see it. She's a complete idiot. I've met her a couple of times in real life. The only thing she has going for her, like I said, are her big boobs, and that's it. I think that's the reason why a lot of people like her. She was a Playboy Sports Illustrated model. I think that she's an airhead. She thinks that she's more than what she is. I think that she does have some psychological issues that she needs to have addressed. Her husband, John Legend, used to live in the neighborhood with his dog. He's since moved out. Not that we miss him at all. But I mean, that's such as the case with these Hollywood types. They think that they're more than what they are. They think that people need to listen to them and hear them. And I would just present to you, have you missed any of them at the movies since we've been in lockdown? I haven't missed any of them. Haven't even wanted to see them, let alone hear from them. Mm-hmm. But these are the people who always join the Democrat Party. They're happy that Biden is in the White House because I'm sure if you look at the log of people entering the White House, you'll see a lot of those knuckleheads coming in and out, giving him ideas. And when I bet you they'll have the White House correspondence dinner in some shape, form, or fashion so they can all dress up like penguins and strut to the White House and laugh and talk and hey, ha, 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 ha. Give me a freaking break. In the meantime, they're destroying a lot of the cities, living behind gates. They don't want us to have a wall, a border wall, but they have walls protecting themselves from us. Are you serious? Though something that I also want to mention, when you mentioned AOC and people having a bad day, I thought this was funny. I guess this was trending on Twitter, but here we go here with AOC. I don't know if you guys saw this or not earlier today with her saying that she was attacked. They were being, I mean, she went into the theatrics, and we talked about this earlier on, but here's a clip I guess someone did of her looking like Jesse Smollett, because if you remember this time a couple of years ago, he was saying that MAGA people attacked him. And they were saying, hey, who is that? You know, and they say, we MAGA, this is MAGA country. Did not happen. Couldn't have happened. It was in liberal Chicago. It was the dead of winter, early in the morning. So do you actually think they're going to be looking for Jesse Smollett, a 2-bit actor? So I guess someone decided to do a little rendition of combination of him and AOC with her saying, I thought I was going to die. Girl, please, no one was going to kill you. Okay. And then after that, the question became, someone tweeted, were these the 2 thugs that were going to kill you? You know, it's hilarious. I find it extremely hilarious, you know. But if you missed it, go on to Google and Google it, because she was giving an entire rendition and they were banging the door. They were saying, where is she? Where is she? And as I said at the top of the hour, look, they weren't looking for you. Please stop.
Mhm.
Just stop making yourself the center of attention. Gosh, they're crazy. They're crazy. Now, Andrew, what do you think about Adam Schiff? He's now trying to leave the Hill and become the governor, not the governor, but the Attorney General of California.
Mm. Well, I don't live in California, so I'd be happy to see him go, to be honest with you. He's been doing a pretty lousy job as a congressman. So to see him just work in his home state of California would be a welcome change for me, because I live about 20 states away.
Well, I mean, my position is that he'll just continue to destroy California.
Mhm.
I mean, Gavin Newsom would have to appoint him Attorney General now that Biden selected the Attorney General there to be on his one of his cabinet members. I feel for California. I mean,
Mhm.
because you keep having these knuckleheads popping up and just ruining the country, ruining
Yeah.
their states.
And the issue is, when Adam Schiff leaves, you never know what kind of radical progressive they'll bring in to replace him in his district. It could be someone even worse.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Who would they, if they put him there, who would they nominate for to? I mean, Adam has done so much damage on the Hill. He hasn't been called out for all the lies he told about Russia collusion. Again, it goes back to, I think that Bill Gates was giving them cover. And, for what it's worth, when the Republicans did control a lot of the committees, they should have called these people up. I know Lindsey Graham has said, well, we don't call up our own colleagues or to set precedent. It doesn't matter. We keep trying to tell these knuckleheads, because if the tables were turned, the Democrats would have called you up like 1, 2, 3. Before the ice melted, they would have called you up. So you guys should have put him up there. We need to get to the bottom of this. I don't know how and when, but the truth needs to prevail, because there was a lot of miscarriage of justice, a lot of malfeasance taking place amongst the Democrats. And we need the truth. It has to be exposed. Now, I know that the president, declassified a lot of information. Well, I mean, so far, that information is not going anywhere. And we need more. We need to get to the bottom of this, if there is a bottom. Like I said, I don't know if we can count on John Durham. Don't hold your breath. So we might be out there. Now, one more thing I want to mention. I want to talk about Clarence Thomas, the second Black Supreme Court justice. There is a museum in D.C. I was in D.C., I think, in 2017 or thereabout. And they had just opened the Smithsonian Black American Museum, or African American Museum. I don't know what they call it. Something political, I'm sure. But I didn't go there. I had no desire to see it. One of the reasons why is that I didn't think that it was a clear representation of Black history. Because within the walls of that Smithsonian Museum is that they have caricatures of people who, in my opinion, are not even B actors or D actors in Black history. Nene Leakes from the Real Housewives of wherever. Other characters, rappers, who I'm sure they, had some significance in the music industry. But when you can't put in a note about Clarence Thomas, the second Black Supreme Court justice, simply because he's a Republican, you can't acknowledge the fact that he's part of our history. But you can put in rap, slang, Real Housewives of Atlanta, but not put this guy in. It is disgraceful. And the fact that Black people are allowing this, and then they want to shout, Black Lives Matter. You're counseling yourselves out. This man should be there. I don't care if you don't like his politics. He should be there. He made history. Why isn't he there? I bet Kamala Harris will have her role there, and she's Jamaican Indian. But Clarence Thomas, no. I wonder if you have the other Black congressmen who were on the Hill after the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, rather. They were all Republicans. I wonder if you'll have the history that once the slaves were freed, blacks were Republicans. They flipped and went Democrat after Roosevelt and the Great New Deal with him giving free stuff away. Because Roosevelt couldn't stomach the nerve to say we need to open up the society for blacks. After Lincoln had freed the slaves hundreds of years ago, earlier. You see the contrast? You see what Republicans have done and what Democrats have done? Democrats, the party that have held blacks back. But back to my point, Clarence Thomas should be in that museum. Now you have black congressmen that are saying, please put a note about him in the museum. Why should you even do that? They should know automatically to put it there. But they won't. Why? Because white liberals are saying, oh, don't put him there. And of course, black people will just follow around like little sheeps, won't say anything about it. That is your history. That is black history. Be proud of it. But they don't want him there. Shame on you. But I bet Oprah Winfrey's there. And what has she done? Made a living off of people's sorrows. People, wake up. Be straight. Wake the heck up, please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no spot for Justice Thomas, yet they continue to idolize people like Colin Kaepernick. It's just really sad.
Oh, yeah. He's probably there. Colin Kaepernick is there. And you know who else is probably there? Had a little note. George Floyd is probably there. Because George Floyd, he's not a hero. George Floyd, a two-bit criminal who was killed. It should not have happened. What happened to him? But of course, the story is still being told. But we conservatives must start writing the stories. And that is the reason why we're on tonight, so that we can preserve this history, so that people will look back and say, let's see what Rob and Andrew had to say about this at this particular point in time. And they will see that our analysis, because no one else is going to report this. If you leave it up to the Democrats, they'll make everyone, they were a sexless society. They had no sexes. They could decide any day if they were male or female. It didn't matter. They did away with the pronouns, did away with grandma and grandpa, and just said it, that, they, which makes absolutely no sense. We are the laughing stock of the world. We're not forward thinkers. Stupid. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Colin Kaepernick and George Floyd, they probably earned their slot there. They probably have big displays in the museum about, oh, well, he did this, he did that. What did he do? It's sad. It is really sad that you're going to cover up history that is real history. You look back in time, you really look at the Civil War, you look at the Civil Rights Movement, you look at the people who were affected, who were lynched. And if I might add, there weren't a lot of people, blacks, that were lynched, although the media will tell you that. There were more Italians lynched than blacks. But if you look at the history, and you look at what these people went through when the police were against them. I mean, these people were upright citizens. They weren't doing things, crazy things like these other, like Michael Brown. Michael Brown, believe it or not, is even in the museum. What the heck for? If I were to go to the museum, if I were to see that, I would say, next, let's move on, because Michael Brown was a two-bit criminal. Michael Brown didn't obey the law. That's just like going into the museum and seeing, what's the guy's name? Charles Manson being celebrated. Jeffrey Dahmer being celebrated. Are you serious? Epstein being celebrated because he was a billionaire. It's like, folks, come on. This is crazy. And speaking of billionaires, John Kerry, the climate czar, who flew on his private jet to Iceland in 2019 to get an award. And he said, well, I just can't fly coach because I got to be able to run and jump and go and do here and do this. Are you serious, John Kerry? But you're telling me not to ride a plane. Don't even ride coach. You can walk. You can ride the bus. Rules for thee, not for me. Always get that in the Democrats' party. And it's really sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of George Floyd, I think one of the stories to watch out for this year is the Minnesota DA really overcharged the police officers in that George Floyd case. Not only did they charge the main guy that was standing over George Floyd, but they charged every police officer that was there that day with, I believe it was second-degree murder. So obviously they will not get like 5 police officers on a second-degree murder charge for one guy dying. So some of them are going to get off, and Joe Biden, it's going to be his turn to deal with that vitriol, anger, and backlash. Should be interesting to see how that goes when the results of the George Floyd court cases come to public.
Yep. Yeah, it will be interesting because as we've said before, I mean, they were saying that he did not resist arrest. Now we're finding out that he did. This whole thing with him screaming and, one of the things I think that people found that was really heart-wrenching is they said that when he was lying on the ground, he was saying, "Mama," he was calling for his mama. Well, I mean, yeah, that's sad, but I think we have to put it into context because a lot of times when people are in positions like that, they'll call for their mom or their dad, or they'll call for someone. Not that he was seeing his mom, but people will do that. I mean, even now, if I'm terrified, I'll go, "Mama," something like that. That's not mean I'm like calling for my mom, but they'll take it, the media, they'll take it and they'll twist it around and say, "Oh, he was calling for his mom because he was dying." We got to wake up, folks. We just got to wake up. Andrew, what is this country music star, Morgan Wallen? And he's being axed by his record company. They're saying that he said the N-word. Have you heard that story?
I have not heard the story, but in 2021, you get busted using that word. There's a good chance you're going to get canceled, huh?
Well, I don't. We talked about this earlier on when we were back on Periscope. And I was looking at this story and I'm like, I just don't get it. When they first said it, I'm like, okay, what did he say? How did he say it? So looked at the tape. And I'm like, okay. So apparently what happened, and I think they've had it in for this guy for quite some time, because if you recall, he was supposed to be on Saturday Night Live. He's 36 years old. He's supposed to go on Saturday Night Live, I think, back in September or October, and they canceled him because they found out that he was out partying with a bunch of college kids and he wasn't wearing a face mask. So they said, okay, you can't appear in the show. So then they eventually let him back on the show. Then he had a baby, just all this craziness. But apparently what happened is that he was leaving a show with his buddies. And they were leaving, going home. And he said something about, okay, see you later. Then he said the N-word. Okay. And then he called another friend. He said, okay. He said the P word, P-U-S-S-Y. Then he said the N-word. Now, I thought he had said the N-word in a derogatory fashion.
Did he say it with the E-R or the A?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if he said it with the. Okay, I'm gonna say it. I don't know if he said niggas or nigger. I don't know. But when I heard it, it seemed as if though he was trying to be cool and say it. Now, if you recall, back in 2015, I think Gwyneth Paltrow said the same thing to Jay-Z. She was at his concert, and she was saying, "Yeah, that's my nigga, blah, 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 blah." And people got mad. Jay-Z came out and said, "Oh, no, she's cool." So I guess what I'm leading up to is that for some people, if you say it, you're cool if someone's going to defend you. But for other people whom they already don't like, if you say it, they're going to cancel you. Now, he came out and issued an apology and said, "Oh, well, I don't know why he said it, blah, 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 blah." My thing is, here in New York City, if you go out on the trains or if you go around young people, Black, Hispanics, or white, you will hear that word used nonstop. They're calling each other that. Yeah, might end this, might end that. Now, I don't know if it has the EZ at the end or the ER. Doesn't matter to me. You still said it. Okay. And they're cool when they say it. And if we're going to indict him, Andrew, I'm afraid you can't listen to rap music. And you can't listen to Jay-Z. I don't know if you like rap music, but you can't listen to Jay-Z. And you sure as hell better not listen to Cardi B's WAP. And you better not sing it. You better not sing it by yourself, because that is just riddled with the N-word amongst a few other colorful words. So I'm like, I don't get it. Because you hear these words in rap music nonstop. And if you're white, and if you sing it, if you say it, if you're not cool and if you're not down, you better watch out because the cancel culture is going to come after you and they're going to say, oh, you said this word, but it's in the music. So I was singing it. What's the big deal? No, for one, I don't like the word. Okay. When it's in a rap music, I mean, I don't care for rap music, but if I'm at the gym, if I'm working out, if someone is singing, I'm bobbing my head with it also. But I'm like, if you're white, you must be, you're completely like, well, can I see it or can I not see it? Or when it gets to the end part, I'll say something else. Because if I don't, people are going to attack me. I mean, what are your thoughts on the subject?
Yeah, it just feels like it's one word that it almost doesn't matter the context you use it in. If you are white, there's at least going to be some kind of attempt to get you canceled, unless I guess if you're a left-wing darling.
Yep.
But other than that, yeah, if you are caught on tape ever saying that, you're going to be in big trouble. Hulk Hogan actually, a couple of years ago, got fired from WWE in his ambassador role because there was a clip that came out from like 2003 or something like that, where he was talking about this guy that his daughter was dating, and he happened to be black, and he used the N-word to describe him. He got fired, and of course he still gets a lot of scrutiny for it. Just one of those things where if you're white, my advice to you is just to stay away from that word for all that you can.
Yeah, and it's right. It's crazy. It is really ridiculous. There was someone else not too long ago. Was a kid. Gosh, she was saying the word. She said it in a tweet, and they came after her. And like you said, if you're not a media darling, they're going to try and cancel you. You know, look at Eminem. Now, if you are a media darling, there's like, I don't care anything about it. You know, you can say it as much as you want. But look at the guy, the director who did, what is his name? The white guy. And in his movies, he uses the words non-stop.
Quentin
Tarantino. It's just like, it's non-stop. Now, I know that Spike Lee called him out on it, but you look at Spike Lee's stuff and he uses the word also. But again, you look at rap music, it is riddled with the word WAP by Cardi B. It is non-stop. So if that's the case, you can't play that song. Cardi B, the person who interviewed then candidate Joe Biden. And the day that she interviewed him, she released WAP. I wonder if he and Dr. Jill Biden made out to WAP.
Do you remember the Kramer from Seinfeld incident where he was getting heckled in a theater by a black person and he started screaming the N-word at him? Obviously, it was a comedy show, so I don't think he would just say it on the street like that. But even though he said it to be a joke, I don't think his career ever really recovered.
It didn't. And then when you have people coming out saying, oh, well, I didn't know he was like that. I didn't know he had that in him. It's like, wait a minute, time out. You're buying into the hype. You know the person. Give me a break. It's always interesting when people start trying to comment on it and then distance themselves from the person who said it out of fear. I mean, society has just gotten completely out of control with cancel culture and what you can say and you can't say when you play this music and you hear this nonstop. Remember when Hillary Clinton was running for president and she had Beyonce and Jay-Z on the stage, and it's like, wait, Jay-Z uses that word like within the drop of a dime. And he's on the stage. But if you're a media darling, we'll give you a pass. And if you one of those individuals, like I say with this guy, I mean, he was already in trouble, did not like him. So I think this was a perfect opportunity for them to just, silence him. And he's come out, he's apologized. I'm like, why are you apologizing? Don't you understand? They don't like you. Now, maybe he apologized. He goes away. He's quiet for a while. The record label will pick him back up. But for now, it's like, oh, we better leave him alone because if we don't, Black Lives Matter is going to be protesting outside our door. And remember, during one of the correspondence dinners with Barack Obama, one of the comedians came out and said, oh, Barack Obama, he's my N-word. He's my nigga. And no one said anything about it. And Barack Obama was sitting right there. I'm like, what is this? What is this? It's ridiculous. Now, again, I don't like the word. But if it's in rap music, if it's being played, I'm at the gym, I'm going to bob my head and work out and get a couple of more reps in. But this council culture, what this person said it, what was the intent? How did they say it? I remember someone read it in a book. He was attacked. Oh, you read it in a book. Well, it's in the book. Are you serious? When do we become little kids that, oh, this offended me? Again, this is that liberal culture, rules for thee, not for me, and they keep making it up to cancel or to silence people that they don't like. And that's what they want to do to conservatives. They want to say that we're all white supremacists, that we're all extremists, that we're all radicals, as if though to get rid of anything conservative. So they can come up with their crazy agenda of ripping America apart. But that's who we are. We're supposed to have different ideas and different opinions. That's what the Constitution is for. Now they're supposed to be so lovingly with the Constitution and loving the flag. And I bet you anything, once this year is over, they'll be spitting on the flag, burning it up, pooping on it, and wanting to tear down the White House and name it something else. It's unbelievable.
Well, yeah, I believe Antifa and Black Lives Matter have already started that. Antifa was burning pictures of Joe Biden in Portland already. They said they don't like Biden. So I think...
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he's going to have his hands full for quite some time with Antifa and Black Lives Matter. It's almost like when Antifa spray painted Nancy Pelosi's garage. It's like, you created this monster. Now you're the ones that have to deal with it. So
yep.
I'm looking forward to see where that goes.
Yep. So it's unbelievable. But that's all I have, Andrew. It's been a great show.
Absolutely. And we will be back Super Bowl Sunday tonight. I know I don't watch football. I don't think Rob's going to be watching the football game on Sunday night. He might watch some.
I'll probably look and see, turn it off and on just to see some of the commercials, but I'll be prepping for the show, of course.
Right. Yeah. I miss the days where we at least had like a cool halftime show to look forward to.
Yeah. Who's doing the halftime show this year?
I'm not even sure.
That guy, he has a crazy face. He's The Weeknd. He's going to be doing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No Pitbull this year, huh? Seems like he's the go-to for those halftime shows, huh?
Or Jennifer Lopez and Shakira shaking their hips and all the other stuff. But yeah, he's going to be doing it this year.
Who's that overweight rapper where it's like you don't even know why he's famous? You've never heard one of his songs? That DJ Khaled or whatever. That guy is all over the place.
Oh, DJ Khaled. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, why is this guy even famous? I don't know if he has popular songs or what. But
well, you know what's right?
His face is all over the place.
I mean, it's like you said, some of these people, I don't know who they are. And I'm like, oh, I like that song. Oh, well, that's this person. I'm like, who is that? Like The Weeknd. He's apparently been out there for more than a minute. And I'm just now hearing about the guy only the past couple of years. I'm like, whoa, where have I been?
Yeah, I actually liked after the Janet Jackson boob incident, they said, oh, we're not going to go with controversial figures for a while. And then they had a couple of years where they had like the Rolling Stones and Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Now that's a good halftime show.
Mm-hmm.
The Weeknd, that's a skip from me. But we will be here this weekend, Sunday night at 10 Eastern, 9 Central. We will be back. And then we will be back on Tuesday with Jeffrey Perrine to tell us about his city council seat that they're trying to take away because he was a member of Proud Boys. The Sacramento GOP, even though they allowed him to run, they said they were not aware of his past beliefs and statements and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And they're now trying to remove him for a paid position that he had already been elected to. So he's going to come on Tuesday and tell us about that. And hopefully he can fight it and stay in his councilman seat. I have a bad feeling this is what's going to happen to a lot of these pro-Trump patriots, the cancel culture media, when they get elected to office, and the GOP rhinos are just going to do all they can to get them removed and make life very difficult for them.
Unfortunately, Andrew, I agree with you. They're trying to remove them from different committees. And the fact that, I mean, maybe the Republicans did fight. I know that Jim Jordan came out with a strong statement saying, hey, you can't remove her. The people voted for her. What are you trying to do? And they voted for her to be on those types of committees. And I remember, I think it was yesterday, Sandra Smith and there was another gentleman on Fox News who just kept trying to get him to opine and be controversial. He said, wait a minute, why are you guys asking me this? He said, this has nothing to do with what's going on with in the country today. He said, a vote will be made, a decision will be made, and that will be it. They were even asking them, well, who did you vote for? Did you vote to kick Liz Cheney out? Liz Cheney should have been kicked out. I mean, completely kicked out. Oh, she voted with her conscience. No, the heck she didn't. Her constituency would not have voted that way. Okay, and they should kick her, relieve her of her leadership position. But they were afraid, they were cowards. They should have relieved her. She has done nothing since she's been there, but been controversial.
I wish people like this Liz Cheney, this Adam Kinzinger from Illinois.
Oh God, that's another loser.
This Mitt Romney. I wish these losers would just go ahead and switch parties, because everything they do seems like they do it to get a lot of love from the liberals. It seems like that's who they care about pleasing. They don't care about pleasing Republican voters. They actually have disgust and contempt for us because we elected President Trump instead of the GOP establishment. So I wish that these fake Republicans and rhinos would just go ahead and exit on their own, because they're never going to have support in the Republican Party again.
Not at all. And Adam Kinzinger, I'm glad you mentioned him. I never cared for him. I always thought that he was kind of shady with that little 5 o'clock shadow. He's now since gotten rid of. He appeared on one of the late night talk shows saying that he's going to start a super PAC. I wouldn't at all be surprised if he's going to try to run for president, although he's a nobody.
He reminds me of like a new version of Paul Ryan or something, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he should just go become a Democrat. You know, just say that you're a very moderate or conservative Democrat, but we don't need you in the Republican Party. We need people like, again, I don't agree with everything that she says, but she is a fighter. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she is a fighter. And I like that she fights. She fights in what she believes in. I mean, from day one, she was out there fighting. The Democrats saw that and they wanted to cap her at the knee. There's no reason why they had to remove her from that party. Could have just said, hey, you need to be careful. We're going to censor you. Because again, you look at Ilhan Omar, you look at Rashida Tlaib, you look at AOC, who said that Ted Cruz tried to murder her, who clearly is lying about the events of January 6th. She is lying and she should be called out about it. But Republicans won't do it because they want the Democrats to love them. Oh, please love me. They don't love you. They will stab you in the back. So Adam Kinzinger, go far away. You serve your country, fine. That doesn't mean you need to represent your country on the Hill. Okay. Yes, I know that your constituency voted for you, but more than likely, no one was running against you. So you saw the perfect opportunity to run. Just go away or shut up.
Or he benefited like so many from being on the same ballot as Donald Trump, and with an R next to his name. So I guarantee that he lives the district next to me. He's in Illinois 17. I'm in Illinois 16. The only reason he won that seat was because people thought they were putting in someone that had President Trump's back, and he just completely backstabbed all of his voters.
Yep. That's always the case. So he should just, maybe you should run, Andrew.
That's what I said. I said, maybe I'm going to run against this guy next time.
Yeah, you should. You should. Hey, I will support you. We need more people out there, you know, and if you don't make it, hey, you'll have your name out there. But yeah, you might as well mount up a campaign against him, because we got to get rid of it. We've got to get rid of a lot of these losers, because they used Trump just to get there. But the moment they saw that he was down, they started to kick him. So yeah, let's get rid of him. Get him out.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Follow us on gab.com, at smalltownandrew, at robjh1. You can also find us on pilled.net. Please share to check out that website and sign up if you're looking for a good free speech platform where anything goes. Go to pilled.net, and we will see you guys Sunday night at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, 7 in the West.
Thank you. Be blessed and stay strong.